You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
You're watching Sci-Fi Journal! Yeah!
Welcome to a very special edition of Sci-Fi Journal. This show is for June 2012. This program is presented by the Rhode Island Science Fiction Club. I'm Marc Morisseau. Also hosting the show today are Jay Kingston, and you will also see Calvin Watts III, and you will also see James Hinsey, because this month we have footage from Free Comic Book Day, which took place in May.
Yes, it did.
Which was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yep, we visited 4 different shops all across Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Massachusetts and Rhode Island, which was very nice. We had a lot of fun with that. Interviewed some great people. And we want to start off right away with, we started off at a place in Bellingham, Mass. Called Rubber Chicken Comics. I had to talk with the owner, Jay. Let's take a look at that footage. We're at Rubber Chicken Comics in Bellingham, Massachusetts with one of the owners, Jay Perillo. Jay.
Pillarella.
Oh, thank you. All right. Now, how long have you had this business going?
I've actually been in business for over 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, we started back in 1990.
All right. So you've seen a lot of stuff in the comic book industry.
Everything in the comic book industry. I've
Cool.
seen the rise and fall and the rise again.
Yep. Now, tell us a little bit about Free Comic Book Day.
Free Comic Book Day started, I think, a little over 10 years ago. It started off with literally just a couple of different publishers, Marvel, DC, Dark Horse. It was just a way to, give a little bit back. It was such a huge success that literally every single year it got bigger and bigger. More and more publishers actually jumped on board. They decided, this is the best way to get free press whatsoever. Go to your comic shop, pick up a free comic from us. Next thing you know, you could pick up half a dozen to half a thousand, new readers.
Right. Now, have you been participating in Free Comic Book Day since the beginning?
Since day one.
Since day one, which is good. Now, of the comic books, certain titles are free for customers, but you guys have to pay for them, right?
Yeah, we have to pay for them, but they actually make them extremely cheap for us so that it's really not bad on my wallet.
Yeah.
And again, it's the one day a year that I like giving back to the entire community. I actually put out a lot of different books as well that I find for good deals. I literally like just giving as much as possible so people can try as many different things,
Right, that's good. Now, do you expect any particular titles to be more popular than others?
Actually, this year the Mouse Guard title is going to be huge. They actually, RKA actually put it out in hardcover.
Right.
So literally, it's a game changer. They actually went out of their way to put like 3 or 4 different stories into a nice hardbound cover. Actually, the inside cover actually shows a little place where you can actually sign it. This is my book. Other than that, Avengers came out, and of course the Avengers movie is out.
Avengers, yeah.
The Avengers movie came out, so anything to do with Avengers right now is going to be huge. So it was obviously genius that actually came out. DC put out the New 52 not too long ago last year. So what they did was they actually made the Justice League #1 is available for everyone to check out. One of the best books out there. Not to mention they actually put out a Superman family book as well. So it literally for all the kids out there, it relates to from Teen Titans to Superman to like Superdog, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay.
Honestly, there's something for everybody. There's stuff from Aspen, from what else do we got out there? From Blue Water Press. I mean, these are all titles that you may have never heard of. That's why you come down for Free Comic Day, and you can actually check them out.
Now,
something
Top Cow is doing some stuff too, I believe.
Top Cow actually did. Yes, they did a good variety comic. Literally, again, there's like 4 different stories inside it.
He's waving. Okay. You can wave. Go ahead. Yeah. Say hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay, good. Now go away, kids. So this is actually awesome because you not only get your regular customers, but you also get some younger readers in here as well.
Totally. This is actually the biggest day of the year for me. Every year I literally wait for this. I get the 501st comes down here. Actually, if one of you guys want to come over, jump inside.
Oh, the 501st are here. Awesome.
501st
Good.
here. Every year, I've been doing it since day one. I get stormtroopers down here. They police the entire area, make sure that no one's stealing comics.
Yeah.
Because they're free today.
Hang on a second. This is not the comic book owner you were looking for.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, awesome. Well, thank you very much for letting us take a look at your store.
Of course,
we appreciate it very much, and let's go on to the next store.
Well, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
That was a great shop. It's what I always picture a comic book shop to look like.
Yep. Yep. And the little dude in the pink helmet that was running around back and forth, so we had to give a mention to him.
Yep.
I don't know if we can say his name or not, but anyways, hi little dude from Rubber Chicken Comics. Now you're on the show. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
He had fun.
And now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, the segment that you all write in for and demand every month. Calvin Watts III with Game Over.
Game over. Game over, dude.
Game over.
Game over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So, we're gonna do like a game over / aborted popcorn preview segment. Isn't that cool?
Oh, that's very cool.
Considering I was kind of sick, if you want to call it that, when we were actually taping a couple of weeks ago. It is May 24th as we are taping this now, and that date will become relevant as we go along in this segment. But the first thing that we have is a clip from Prometheus, which is coming out in a couple of weeks in June.
Absolutely.
I am so looking forward to this movie.
Yeah, this is the second big movie that Charlize Theron is in this summer.
Mm-hmm.
The first being Snow White and the Huntsman, and now Prometheus, which is actually a precursor to the movie Alien.
Yes.
So
I cannot tell you how geeked out I am to see this. So
yeah, it's nice to see a pure science fiction film come back again, and this it's actually a science fiction / horror film, but it's a very edgy science fiction film, and it's nice to see something that's pure sci-fi instead of sci-fantasy.
Not to mention it absolutely looks stunning, as this clip is going to show you.
Oh, absolutely.
So check this out.
Let's take it down.
Roger that.
Yes, Captain. All personnel, this is the captain. Brace for entry.
All systems online.
Atmosphere, 71% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, traces of argon gas.
Whoa, now that's weather.
Just like home.
Take us round. Gonna use that as our point of entry. Let's go through that gateway.
There. Right there. God does not build in straight lines. This valley. Captain, do you think you can put us down there?
Engage landing sequence. Switch the manual.
Commence plan.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Bringing it down in 5.
Preparing to fire RCS.
4. 2. Each does it. BS has landed.
Pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It really is. I'm loving. This is a perfect example of a place where CGI is appropriate for a film. They're not beating you over the head with it. The actors are doing their part. They're actually acting. They're emoting. They're selling the story, and the CGI acts as a counterpoint to the action itself and to the script, which is exactly what it should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Ridley Scott really looks like he's hit a home run with this, and hopefully our next show will be able to talk a little bit about just how good or bad or what we liked or didn't like about the movie or whatnot. But definitely a must-see. All right, moving on to the more of the game over stuff, and we got some big news to talk about, but let's get the other stuff out of the way first. We're going into summer. Summer is usually a dead month when it comes to home video releases, but there are a couple of things you can look forward to. Chronicle, which we saw earlier this year, just came out on DVD and Blu-ray. That was an awesome movie.
It was. That was a great film. I really liked that, especially it kind of it was the the cautionary tale about superheroes and superpowers, which really, really good. So I thought it took the Marvel idea of having a superhero with a tragic backstory. It really took it to the nth degree.
Right.
You know, and showed what can happen. You know, ultimate power corrupts absolutely, or absolute power corrupts absolutely. I'm sorry, folks. My son got married this weekend. I'm still getting over it. So
congratulations to Justin and Diamond. That's so awesome, by the way.
That was great. They're in Disney right now.
So Chronicle is out now. Definitely pick it up. It's a must-own for any superhero fan library.
Absolutely.
And also some really big news. The Hunger Games has just been officially announced for August 18th, which is a Saturday.
Awesome.
So I'm looking forward to that. That's a day one purchase for me.
I'm all in favor of books like that. The Hunger Games and the Harry Potter series, any of the young adult series of books that come out and get kids back reading again, I am all in favor for.
And the other news, and it's a rumor right now, but it probably has some fact behind it. The Avengers right now is tentatively announced for September 25th.
Awesome, I'm there.
One of the biggest movies this year. I'm sure next month we'll probably go into what we liked and didn't like about the Avengers. Just to briefly reiterate, it's one of the biggest movies ever. It's made over $1 billion worldwide. What a superhero movie should be, and obviously that's a minute purchase the day it comes out.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So moving on to the video gaming part of this segment, let's get some of the really quick stuff out of the way. Some really big titles have been pushed back to first quarter of 2013, which will help my wallet for Christmas time, but. It is kind of sad. The remake of Devil May Cry has been pushed back, along with BioShock Infinite and Aliens Colonel Marines, which I was really looking forward to. So I'm kind of disappointed. It looks like a February target date for these three games. But there'll be plenty of stuff out this fall between Halo and Call of Duty and God only knows what else to keep you entertained. So, but still, I mean, they're all big A-list titles, and having them delayed is going to kind of suck.
I've seen some information. I haven't seen any kind of a trailer or anything, but I've seen some information on ACM, and it looks promising. It looks really promising.
So, speaking of trailers, we have a video game trailer for you now, and it's a lighthearted look of something actually coming out. It was supposed to come out in August, but actually got pushed up to June. And this looks funny. Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes. So the Justice League is in this. This just looks funny. I'm picking this up as soon as it comes out. I've always loved the DC or the Lego universe with the different Harry Potter and these Star Wars and stuff. And the Batman thing is no different. This looks fun. Check it out for yourself, but definitely picking this up.
To stop them.
You think?
That is nice. I mean, especially this game is a nice tie-in with what we've done this month already with the False Face Society and Free Comic Book Day, so it's an appropriate game to talk about.
So I'm looking forward to that. Now, like I said earlier, we are filming this, and it is approximately 6:49 on May 24th. The reason why I say this, and it is kind of weird how it worked out, how I wasn't here for the original taping to do my segment, because in that 2-week time, 38 Studios, which is based here, well, I should say is, as of this moment, was based here in Providence, has falling apart and has shut its doors. There has been a ton of stuff that has come out over the past couple of weeks about the studio being in trouble. Earlier this year, they released their Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning video game to very good reviews and supposedly really good sales. But then we just got some whiff of that there were problems with the company. It was a cash flow issue. They had a interest payment that was due to the state of Rhode Island, which is backed 38 Studios, which is Kurt Schilling's gaming company, for those of you who don't know.
I think it was an actual loan payment that was due, not just the interest.
Oh, yeah, it was like a $1.1 million payment that was due on May 1st, and for whatever reason they missed it. And nobody heard about anything till almost like a week or so later, when something came out that says all of a sudden, the sky is falling and they're having issues. And then so much has come out over the past couple of weeks between the EDC, the Economic Development Corporation, which overseed actually having this loan payment come out. This is something that was in the works a couple of years ago when John Kateri was still governing. He was the main force behind getting the approval to 38 Studios. And everything has just come so quickly, and it's just been an absolute mess. It's a black eye for the state of Rhode Island. And now the taxpayers are going to be on the hook for this stuff. All right, so 38 Studios, when it was Kurt Schilling's idea of a better video game company and taking over the world through gaming. And it was formed a few years ago in Massachusetts. And he got a couple of people to go in, some really big names in the sci-fi fantasy industry. You had R.A. Salvatore, who was one of the most well-known authors today. Todd McFarlane as the art director. For those of you who don't know who Todd McFarlane is, the creator of Spawn, one of the most prolific comic book artists of all time. His McFarlane Toys makes tons of money and making some of the most realistic figures that there are. And Ken Ralston, who was the main developer behind the Elder Scrolls, Morrowind, and Oblivion games. So I mean, you had these really big names all rolled into one, and they might have bitten off a bit more that they could chew. But their Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning game came out in February. It was one of the very surprising games of this year. From all indications, it sold very well for a new IP. The actual figures, and a lot of this gets a little bit hazy because the NPD Group, that's the company that reports video game sales, up through about 6 weeks ago, they've reported that Kingdoms had sold about 410 to 420,000 copies here in North America alone. And with worldwide copies, you're talking a little over 500,000. The thing with that, though, is that they don't track every retail place that happens to sell video games. Like, one of the things that they just came into agreement with, but as of this time, they haven't tracked a Walmart sales. Now, Walmart's the biggest retailer in the country.
Right.
So Kurt Schilling posted on his Facebook just last night that the game actually outperformed EA's EA was the publisher of record for Kingdoms, and that it had sold over 1 million copies. But as you well know, it doesn't just all go to 38 Studios. It goes to EA, which is the publisher. You're going to pay the retailers. You're going to pay the distributors. So the money, who knows where the money has gone. And it's just really sad how people have gotten hurt, and how it seems like nobody can take credit or take blame for where that blame is going on. The taxpayers are the ones of Rhode Island that are going to end up paying for the bill, and for people who don't know anything about gaming, I mean, it's just astounding some of the stuff that's come on. I mean, I actually went on the John DePietro show, which is a local talk show here. I called in because when this broke, somebody called up and was saying that the game had gotten really bad reviews, which is not true. and that nobody wanted to play role-playing games anymore. They all were playing, the kids want to play the Grand Theft Autos and stuff. And apparently he took a quote from a recent Game Informer magazine saying that Dungeons and Dragons went out in the 80s. And I felt the need to call in because, that's so completely ridiculous. I mean, Skyrim, the latest Elder Scrolls game, just won Game of the Year. And it sold like 3 or 4 million copies. So role-playing games are far from dead. Star Wars, the Old Republic just has come out, and it has over 1 million subscribers every month. I don't even need to talk about World of Warcraft.
No.
So
to say that D&D is dead is an idiotic statement, because all you have to do is walk into Barnes & Noble, the biggest book and magazine retailer in the country, and they've got a section dedicated to Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games to begin with. Now, if it's dead, they wouldn't be carrying it. It's that simple. It's like the number one place to sell any kind of a book in this country is Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. They are given 1 hour for a book to be successful. If that book doesn't generate any sales in that 1 hour, they come along and they yank it, they replace it with something else.
Right.
All right. Now, that's Harlan Ellison's quoted that a few years ago back on Sci-Fi Buzz, and it's still the same way today. If Barnes & Noble is not moving product, they're not going to save space for it, because space is a premium in any marketing. So whoever said that is
So I brought that up, and I also brought up the fact that I didn't say it by name, but TempleCon every February. I mean, this is like the 5th or 6th year they've had it down in Warwick, and it's primarily a board gaming convention, and they've had attendance increase year after year, thousands of people coming in and playing board gaming. So the fact that Dungeons and Dragons or role-playing games is dead is far from it, and so that just set me off. And then the Petro coming on and the master of the soundbite, and I'm sorry, I'm not the biggest John DePietro fan. And then just hopping on 38 Studios, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot to hop on. Kurt Schilling didn't come out, and he could have cleared a lot of stuff up, saying, some of the problems, if he was having a cash flow issue, or if there was, some money problems behind the scenes. For somebody who's known for years about being able to go in front of a camera and be able to work a crowd when he was pitching for the Red Sox, and not say anything at all, it's just crazy. And just people giving gaming a black eye over this is just completely ridiculous. And the governor, don't even get me started about Governor Chafee. To me, I don't want to say a complete moron, okay, but definitely some issues going on there. Because, I mean, he fell asleep at the wheel. If this company was having problems for months, I mean, and stuff's come out literally over the past 24 hours. They haven't paid their employees since May 1st. And so, obviously, I mean, if they were having a cash flow problem months ago, I mean, we're the ones backing these people. Don't you think we should have been checking up to see how this place is going?
Where was the EDC?
Who knows? I mean, the executive director resigned. Keith Stoltz resigned last week. They just had the vice chairwoman just resigned. I mean, just literally like an hour ago. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then the governor went on the Buddy Sancy show the other day and saying that the game was a complete failure, which is
anything but true.
Anything but true. And it's just an absolute joke. And
speaking of jokes, anybody out there who listens to John DePietro and takes what he says to be fact, you've got to really wake up and smell the coffee, guys, because this guy is a professional crap stirrer. That's all he is. He is paid to get in the radio and stir up trouble and get the listeners buzzing, and he will do whatever he has to do to get a soundbite going, like you said.
And he does, but all I'm going to say about DePietro is when the whole thing came out with Arbitron a few years ago, and his wife and the whole ratings thing. So I'm sorry. At least I may not agree with Dan York. 'Cause, I mean, I know all the talk shows have been over this. I might not always agree with Dan York from time to time, but if you want to talk about integrity and stuff, listen to him. But that's my own personal feeling on the whole talk show thing. But the governor dropped the ball, and now we're going to end up paying for this.
As usual.
And who knows what's going to happen with the future of 38 Studios. As of right now, all the staff at 38 Studios in big, huge games in Maryland, which was like their satellite company. They've all been laid off. The Kingdoms of Amalur IP has been rated at, they think it could be worth about $20 million that the state could sell off to try and make some of the money back. And it's really too bad because for a new IP, I mean, I tried a little bit of the game. The game was pretty fun, all things considered. And 38 Studios just last week released a trailer for Project Copernicus, which is the MMO game that they've been working on for these past couple of weeks. And as you can see some of the screenshots that we have that we're looking at now as we're talking about this, and it really looked beautiful, and it's too bad it's probably never going to see the light of day.
Well, I think what should happen, what really realistically could happen, is that a game developer, and when I'm saying this, this is not just me blowing smoke, there are people out who see this in other states. They see this show, and we've got a silent minority of people who watch this show.
Right.
And they are tied in with game developing and things like that. Anybody who's watching this who is tied in with game developing, this is a plum opportunity for you guys to come in and kind of swoop in.
Oh yeah.
And come in on the ground floor of something. Yeah, we may still be on the hook for quite a few million here in Rhode Island, but somebody could swoop in and take over this whole production company and start running that game. And in my opinion, before you develop another MMO, keep it on the back burner, throw out another module, another addition to the first game, so that you can expand it and people who like the game can play more adventures with it. And then while you're selling those, work on the MMO in the background. And when that comes out, then start adding more things. You know, go with one project and expand it a little bit, go out in little circles, because let's face it, the game market is huge. And to jump in at this point with both feet is taking a huge risk.
Right.
That's the one thing that's come through all of this that they've been
Oh
very
yeah,
clear on.
and of course it was a risk, and the state never should have done the thing in the first place. But
No.
they should have done their due diligence instead of, you know, wow, oh, okay, so Kurt Schilling's like this big time star, and you know he might have a good idea, and it could have, if it succeeded, it could have made a lot of money, and you know it just, they handed out a blank check almost, and this story is far from over, and we'll be reporting on this as things unfold over the next couple of months. Here is a trailer for Project Copernicus. God only knows if it'll see the light of day, but it is beautiful, so it is what it is. Here it is. All right. Well, after all that unpleasantness, I want to leave on a funny note. This video got posted to YouTube about a week or so ago, and Joystick.com had posted it, and it's one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. It's called Art of the Instakill. So take the top video games, make it live action, and set them against each other and see what happens. And this made me laugh out loud.
And this is an amateur production, too.
Amateur production. Definitely worth seeing. Check this out, and right after this, we're going to go into the next Free Comic Book Day segment. So here we go.
It's me, Mario.
All right, now next up, we went to the Warwick Mall.
Yes.
And you had a chance to interview the guys over at the Toy Vault.
Yeah,
at
Chris.
Warwick Mall. Chris.
Yep. And we had a great time over there. They've got it's just a huge store, and it's absolutely jam packed with all kinds of comics and collectibles and all sorts of stuff.
Right.
So, and they had quite the turnout for Free Comic Book Day.
Yep.
So much to the fact that they were running out of comics by the time we got there to interview with them, and the day was only about halfway over.
Yep.
So let's take a look at that.
Hey, Jay here at Warwick Mall, and I'm at Toy Vault with
Chris.
And Chris. What a great store. I love this place. I come in here quite a bit of times with my sons, and we find just about everything that we're looking for as far as collections and comics and things like that. How's Comic Book Day going, Free Comic Book Day?
It's been very busy so far today. We've seen a lot of people come through. I think with the Avengers opening this weekend, it's kind of brought a lot of people in, so very well.
Yeah, I was wondering how that was going to affect everything with the movie premiere this weekend. So
yeah, last night we were kind of slow because probably all of our clientele was seeing the movie.
Yeah.
But today a lot of people have been coming out, so it's good. It's very good.
That's great. And have you noticed a lot of people asking for, say, the Avengers comics or anything?
Yeah, and without spoiling anything, there was a certain bad guy revealed at the end, and as of last night, we had sold out of every figure of him that we had. So.
Awesome, that's great.
Yeah, people are looking for back issues with him and all that stuff. So I think it drummed up a lot of interest in that stuff. So
that's fabulous. And the idea of Free Comic Book Day, of course, is to generate some sales for the store and generate interest in comic book collecting itself. Have you had any positive interaction that way so far?
Yeah, this year they did a lot of books for kids, like Younger Simpsons and Yo Gabba Gabba and Adventure Time, a lot of younger cartoons. So we've noticed a lot of people getting those for their young, little kids, and hopefully that gets them started, because comic books now are kind of like a dying breed for kids. Kids are more interested in video games.
Absolutely.
But it seems like, this would be a good way to generate, smaller children starting young, because I started comic books when I was like 6, so.
Same here, and I'll tell you, comic books for parents out there, it's a great way to introduce your kids to reading, because it starts them off, they get interested in looking at the pictures, then they want to know what the words are saying, and it's a good oriented family-oriented activity where you can sit down with your child, and boy or girl, there are comic books out there for either gender, for any age. And what's probably the best seller for the young kids?
They do a Spider-Man book aimed at young kids. They do a Young Justice based on the cartoon. Kids are always looking for those. And Sonic the Hedgehog. Kids love Sonic. I was hoping they were going to do something with Super Mario. We saw a lot of Super Mario stuff. They used to do a Super Mario comic a long time ago, but nothing of that yet. But any of those kind of books. You know what's really hot right now, which kind of doesn't really tie into that, but wrestling stuff. A lot of people are really into wrestling right now. We've been selling a ton of that. I think, we've done really well. We recently started carrying a lot of the Japanese Gundam models, and we've done really good with that stuff. Transformers, they're talking about another Transformers movie, so we always do well with that. And, as long as they keep making superhero movies, we're blowing through all of that stuff. I mean, we have Spider-Man coming up now, another Batman. They already announced Avengers 2 in a couple of years. So, as long as they keep making them and people keep, having interest in that stuff, I think we're going to keep blowing through everything.
Absolutely, and I'm thrilled to death to see that Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemstridge and the other people who are involved in these movies aren't saying, "Oh, I'm a movie star, I can't be involved in this stuff," because I think they know that there's a big market for this, and they're going to have a whole new fan base with kids.
I was just reading Mark Ruffalo signed on for 6 more movies as the Hulk. So
Really?
They were saying he'll probably cameo in like Iron Man 3 and all that stuff. So.
Oh, that'll be fabulous.
Yeah, it seems like they're keeping them locked up and interested in doing. I know Scarlett Johansson and Samuel L. both signed 7-picture deals, so it seems like they're going to keep making them.
I won't complain about Scarlett Johansson doing it.
Me neither.
All right, Chris, thank you very much for taking time to talk to us here.
And that was a lot of fun, and we had a great time doing that. And now it's time for what's going on in the world of anime with James Hinsey and Anime Daisuki. James?
Hi. All right. First off this month, I don't have too much anime this month, but if people are interested in terms of music, Japanese music, there's the New England Taiko group. They perform at various places around New England. And then this summer in July is Black Ships Festival in Newport, Rhode Island. And there's always taiko performances there.
A taiko with those big drums, right?
Yes, they range from smaller, ones, handheld ones, to ones that are like 2 feet across, to a big odaiko one, which is like 6 feet.
Okay.
And they hit it with the wooden, they're almost like pommels. So they, Black Ships may have some anime stuff happening too. Usually Japan Society of Rhode Island has some stuff there and activities. So if you're interested in that kind of thing. But also in July is Kineticon. That's a big convention in Hartford that has a lot of cosplay and panels and things like that. And so that's another one that I don't know, I've been to once, so I'm going to try to see if I can go again. So look for Kineticon in July. August has PyCon, which is actually not in Springfield, but it's in Enfield, Connecticut, which is just south of Springfield. And PyCon is also a lot of fun. It's been growing and growing every year.
And what's the emphasis on that?
It was gaming, but it's also grown to be more general science fiction.
Okay.
It's kind of been the one to replace the stuff happening for the Springfield area. And in other kinds of music, there's the Starkid production group that produced the Harry Potter musical.
Okay.
And they're now headquartered in Chicago. They're a theater group. They've just come out this past year with Holy Musical Batman. It is a funny show. It's spelled B at the at symbol T. So that's the at MAN. So it's B with a I'll put the text thing at the bottom of the screen. That looks
okay.
But yeah, the Holy Musical Batman. That's pretty fun. It has a couple other superheroes in it. Sort of another way of telling the story of Batman as a musical. But they were responsible for the Harry Potter musical, which has had millions of hits on YouTube. And Darren Criss, who played Harry Potter in that, is now on the television show Glee.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
And so their cast is going on tour this May and June. And they'll be in Boston in June, I think June 9th it was. And people, they'll be singing the songs that they've written for their different musicals. Another one's called Me and My Dick. And it's also another funny show, but, great songs. And then there's another one, the Harry Potter sequel. So they have 2 Potter ones. And I think they're working on a 3rd. But they're touring different cities with their casts and singing their different songs. And then also coming up this summer is the Riddikulus tour of 2012. It's a rolling wizard rock festival with 6 bands. My favorites, the Whomping Willows, Lauren Fairweather, and Justin Fitch Fletchley and the Sugar Quills, but also including Tonks and the Oars, Snidget, and I Speak Tree. And in some places like in Connecticut and New York City, they're going to have Bella and the Strangers there too. So they're starting off their tour June 8th in Providence at AS 220. And then they'll be moving to Connecticut and Rochester, New York, a couple of dates in Ohio, out to Missouri and Pennsylvania.
But they actually start off here in Rhode Island.
Yeah, because, Lauren, Justin, and Matt, the Whomping Willow, they all live here in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where they're starting. And they're going to have a great tour, and that's for June. And then in July, they're doing another tour called Expector Patronum. You're starting in Philly, and then working their way down to Florida for Ascendio, which is a convention down there, and then back up this way. And then they'll be in Brewster, Mass, out on Cape Cod at the end of July. And then there's the honeymoon tour, because Matt and Lauren got married last year, and they're on their newlyweds. And so they're going to be doing a tour starting in Chicago at LeakyCon and working their way through the West, Midwest and the West. So, look for them on tour. I love the music. I've tried to introduce it to as many Harry Potter fans who may not have heard of Wizard Rock, and it's great. That's kind of, I think we're going to have like a short show today. So, next coming up, more Free Comic Book Day footage with Calvin at the Time Capsule in Seekonk, right next to the Seekonk Speedway. So, take a look.
Hello everyone, we are here at Time Capsule in Seekonk, the sister store of the main store, which is over in Cranston, but I don't like to think of this as the sister store. I think of this as my store, right next to the Seekonk Speedway, and we are here with the proprietor, Jeff. Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing very well today. It's a crazy scene.
Free Comic Book Day usually is. What do you like about Free Comic Book Day?
All the new people that come in, especially the kids. It encourages reading, and it brings a huge boost to the customer base in, and it carries over through the year.
Awesome. Now this year, especially in 2012, was a really big comic book. You have the New 52 going on, Avengers vs. X-Men, and the Dark Knight movie, the Avengers movie, which is out as we speak. What are your thoughts on how big this year is in terms of comics?
As far as the movies go, obviously it's going to be huge. The transfer over to comics, we just kind of have to wait and see. Usually it provides a boost. Green Lantern had the opposite effect, but this year I think it'll be good. The Avengers is already showing its influence on the shelves. The Avengers versus X-Men has been selling like crazy.
Yeah, and it takes to the Avengers movie. It's really great to see, even though it just released like yesterday statewide. It's already made upwards of like $300 million internationally, and it's really picked up steam over the past couple of months. And I really think it's going to help promote the genre. Anything that you're reading right now that you think would be good for our viewers?
I read a lot of stuff. I'm reading Avengers vs. X-Men. It's a lot of fun. I read a lot of other oddball stuff. Sixth Gun is a particular favorite of mine from Oni Press. Sort of a supernatural, Western, Civil War, bizarre little mashup of genres. Looking at the rack behind me, I just picked up the new Dial H by sci-fi author China Melville. That looks like it's going to be fun. Earth 2's been doing really well. I'm a kind of a big X-geek, so basically every X-Men title.
All right, well, then we'll have to leave off with Avengers vs. X-Men. Who wins, who loses, who dies?
Who wins, who loses, who dies? So far it's kind of been... the Avengers have kind of been coming out on top so far, but I think the tide's going to turn. Who dies? That's an interesting question. Obviously, the main characters playing out is Hope, the adopted daughter of Cable, and Scarlet Witch is going to play a large role in here. She's kind of been sitting on the sidelines, but I think in the end, she could end up actually being the host of the Phoenix Force, or be the conduit to restore the mutant population on the planet Earth, using Hope as a gateway to the Phoenix Force. Could be a really interesting storyline the way that plays out. Just have to wait and see.
I think you have some valid points in that theory, and I think you might turn out to be right. We'll have to check back in a couple of months. Maybe we can do this again. Anyways, you guys, Free Comic Book Day is always awesome. And Jeff, thank you very much for joining us.
No, thank you for coming down.
Back to the studio.
So, Time Capsule in Seekonk is a great place. It's huge. And I also love the album selection. They have all these vinyls and stuff like that there. But it's now time for Mark with Toob News. We're doing a little...
We're switching out today.
Yeah,
we're tag
musical
team,
chairs.
Tag team cable TV show. Yeah. That'll be cool. All right, a little bit of Toob News today. NBC cancels Awake. Remember that show was on Thursday nights. It was a lot of fun. There are still a few more episodes in the series, but it should be all wrapped up by the end of June. However, Grimm is coming back for a second season. It's coming back sooner than they expected.
Oh, that's good.
They've already started filming the second season, and they want to show it right after the Olympics, because NBC has the Olympics this year.
That would be great.
So right after the Olympics, Grimm starts up again, which is pretty awesome. Fox. Bad news, good news for Fox. They renewed Fringe for season 5, but they canceled Alcatraz.
Oh, yeah? I was just catching up on that. I thought it's a great show.
You can catch the episodes on Hulu. If you go to Hulu, you can catch them over there. But sorry, no more Alcatraz. The producers recently tweeted their thanks for their fan support. And yes, it was time travel.
Yes,
in case you're wondering how they got where they got.
Yeah, but then at the end of the season ender there, they had, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for people, but
well, you can spoil it because they canceled the show.
Yeah. Well, they killed off one of the people. So.
Right.
Oh well.
so they shot the main detective in the program. We don't know what happened to her.
Oh well.
But we never will because it's been canceled, unfortunately. Too bad. That had a lot of potential. I was looking forward to a second season. All right. The CW has some news also. They announced they picked up 5 new pilots for the 2012-2013 season. I know I'm used to that camera, and I have to do that camera instead. One of them is the dark and gritty adaptation, which they've called Arrow, based on the Green Arrow.
Yeah. Green Arrow.
We talked about that before, based on DC Comics character. The series is expected to fill the superhero void left by the now-defunct Smallville. Arrow stars Stephen Amell as Oliver Queen Green Arrow, Katie Cassidy as Laurel Lance, or the Black Canary.
Oh, yeah.
So Black Canary will be in that program. David Ramsey is John Diggle. Willa Holland is Thea Queen. Susanna Thompson is Moira Queen. So I guess he's got relatives, family in the show. And Paul Blackthorne has a role as Detective Quentin Lance. So that's good. The network also picked up the new Beauty and the Beast reboot. They're doing Beauty and the Beast. It stars Smallville alum Kristen Kroik. Is that her?
Kristen Kroik.
Kroik. She's going to be starring in that role, and Jay Ryan from Terra Nova is going to be in it. The drama centers on a no-nonsense homicide detective named Catherine Chandler, played by Kristen. Chandler gets involved with a former Dr. Vincent Keller, played by Ryan, who lives in hiding due to a mysterious and beastly condition. Did you watch the old series when it was on before with Ron Perlman?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Only because I like Ron Perlman and Linda Hamilton.
Right.
Wasn't really interested in the romance part of it, but a lot of people were, and written by George R.R. Martin.
Right.
He's the one who's responsible for Game of Thrones. So his writing is very good.
I remember watching the first couple of seasons, then I lost interest because it was like too much of a chick flick for me. And then I caught the very last season just to see how it wrapped up.
Yeah.
All the underground people and things. That was pretty cool. So CW is getting a new version of Beauty and the Beast.
That's good.
We'll see what happens. They also renewed the action drama Nikita for a 3rd season.
Oh, yeah.
Which I wasn't sure they would do. I didn't think they renewed Nikita, but the ratings are strong enough that it's coming back. And then finally, my TV internet series pick for June is a series called Star Hunter.
Star Hunter.
It's a 22-episode Canadian series starring Michael Perry in season 1, ran for 2 years. It's got a TVMA rating, though. It's got violence and nudity in it. That's the Canadian unedited version. It ran for 2 seasons. The first one was from 2000 to 2001. Then it skipped a year and it came back for 2003, 2004 with a different star.
Yeah, I remember starting to watch that, and I just haven't gotten through to finishing. But
yeah, the first season was aired only in Canada. The second season was later picked up in the United States.
Yeah. There's some other old series that were only like 1 seasoners. That looked interesting. I mean, Sci-Fi Channel started playing one that had a space shuttle crew that time traveled ahead, so many years, or back so many years, and they were trying to prevent disaster from happening. And then they only showed like a couple episodes, and then they stopped.
What happened to it? Yeah.
I know the show's out there. It was on. That's the thing. I don't get pay channels like HBO and Showtime, so those series I haven't seen yet until they're in syndication, or online.
Yeah, but in this case, you can catch that series, Star Hunter 2300. Catch it on Hulu if you're really interested. 22 episodes. A lot of fun, okay? And that's all I have this month for Toob News. Now, another segment for Free Comic Book Day. This time, James went to Time Capsule Comics in Cranston and interviewed the owner of that shop, and that was a lot of fun, so let's take a look at that footage.
It's James here from Sci-Fi Journal. We're now at Time Capsule in Cranston, Rhode Island. This is Rob here, the proprietor.
How you doing?
How's it going?
Everything's excellent. This is our busiest free comic book day ever.
Yeah. And how many years again has it been going on now?
I believe this is the 11th year.
Yeah, 11 years. Wow, that's a lot. That's almost a lifetime for young kids, who are collecting or reading comic books. But I've been an old-time comic book. I love seeing all the old ones and maybe picking up some of those. You also have a huge record collection. I've seen that too.
Our vinyl selection has been growing every year since we've started selling vinyl. Every year the sales have gone up, and it's become a big part of our business.
Yeah, people still want to get the 12-inch vinyls and the 45s that you have.
We sell so many LPs. It's just, I can't believe it, but it makes me happy.
Yeah. And what else is happening today?
We've got a bunch of costume characters out front at both stores today. They're here from 12 to 3. We do that every year. The kids love it, the adults love it, and it's a lot of fun for everybody.
So what titles have you got that they're selling now?
Well, DC about 8 months ago relaunched its entire universe from scratch, and it's been selling like hotcakes. We've got a lot of new people that never read comics before who heard about it that have come in. And then lately, Marvel just started a new crossover event called Avengers vs. X-Men. It's probably the biggest thing they've done in years.
Yeah. And what do you think, how's that going to work out? X-Men versus, who's going to win on that?
I don't think anybody's going to win. I think it's going to be a draw at the end, and there's going to be some big surprises for everybody at the end.
Yeah, Calvin asked that question at the other store, and so we're going to see, a few months down the, next year, how things turned out. Yeah.
What did he say at the other store?
I think he thought it was Scarlet Witch, and I can't remember. It was Avengers or X-Men, but I love both. So
I'm calling a draw.
All right, that's official for now.
Yes.
All right, and well, we're gonna continue on.
All right. Well, thanks for coming down. It's always great to see you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so that was a Time Capsule in Cranston.
Yeah.
I really had fun there.
That was fun. That's where I go for my books every week. That's my store.
Yeah.
So.
And they too have a large collection of vinyl.
They do.
Albums and 45s.
Yeah, and he says vinyl is selling more and more all the time.
Yeah, now that they have those small phonographs that you can convert your song.
The USB, you plug a USB into the computer.
Turn it right into MP3s. And,
sure.
You have your. Those could be lost forever otherwise.
You can get an album for a couple of bucks and convert it to digital. You're all set to go.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
And,
all right.
Next, what do we got?
Next, it's time for toys, props, and other stuff.
All right,
You don't do it as well as Jay.
I know.
I know.
I'll have to cut that volume down.
Okay, let's do it quieter this time. Toys, props, and other stuff.
Okay.
Where we talk about things in the wonderful world of collectibles. And this month, it's samples from Free Comic Book Day. So what's up first, Mr. Director? Spider-Man! That was a good origin comic. I guess they're getting us ready for the Spider-Man movie coming out this summer.
Whole new reboot.
A whole new reboot of it. And the artwork is pretty good, too. Season 1 from Marvel. That was their Spider-Man contribution for Free Comic Book Day. And what's next? Here we go. On the left, there was the Avengers. That's a Return of Ultron comic. Did you read that one?
No, I didn't get that one.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. It was well done. Basic characters from the movie, upcoming movie, as well as all the other Avenger characters that we know and love. And next to that, Dark Horse's contribution to Free Comic Book Day was a flip book, which you read also.
Yeah.
The cover we're seeing there is a Serenity story, Firefly story.
Yeah, that was great.
That was a great story. It was short, but it was still well done. And then on the flip side, which you can't see because it's covered, is Star Wars comic.
Star Wars, Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Yep, that was a nice story. It took place during the, it's either before A New Hope.
Yeah.
Or sometime during it, that type of thing.
And I always like when he talks about the Millennium Falcon. It's one of my favorite ships of all time. So.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So that was a good contribution. And you might be able to, if they haven't sold out already, you may be able to get some of those books left at your comic book shop that participated in Free Comic Book Day. So ask them, they might have some extra copies. Although most of the stores that we interviewed, they ran out.
They ran out.
They ran out quickly, which is nice. And hopefully they'll get some new readers and some young readers.
Yeah, there were a lot of young kids there, getting their, oh wow, I got it,
Which was
book.
good. All right, that's going to be it for this month's edition of Sci-Fi Journal for June 2012. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can reach us. Our website is www.risfc.org. Please check us online. We also have Facebook pages. We broadcast our show on YouTube,
yes,
right, as well as PEG Media.
Yep, for the communities around the country that want to download our show.
Okay, give me examples of some of the places around the country where we broadcast.
Urbana, Illinois.
Very nice.
Urbana-Champaign.
Hello, Champaign.
Greensboro, North Carolina, and up in Maine, South Portland, Maine.
Very good.
Yeah, home of PortCon, Maine, which is up in June this month.
Right. Nice. All right. So that's going to be it for this month. We will see you sometime in July. Thank you very much for watching.